All right, I pulled the camera forward, so hopefully I don't have to reach as far. All right, this is the hardware I intended to use. I've got these little snaps, key rings on some of them. I have a few different sizes. So these ones look like they're all, oh, no, they're not all. I would say those are probably 3/4. I measured them. This is probably a 1/2 inch. Maybe, no, not 5/8, because it's just going to be the flat part there. Rest of these are 3/4, or at least the same as that one. Then I got some smaller ones. These are just like round ends. So, and then key ring or jump ring or however you want to use that. I want to put it right to the hardware. I don't trust that that's gonna stay on, but it'll make for a nice like embellishment if I wanted to put like a tassel or something on it, or a charm. All right, what's in these? These look like, I want to say 1/2, but maybe more like 3/8 inch. Okay, so I do have the ability to measure them, but it would be a tight 1/2 inch, but for just that flat, I would put a 3/8 to a scant, between, you know, between 3/8 and 1/2 inch, but I'd say 3/8 on those. Okay, so those are the different sizes of snaps that I am making available to use today. I have higher quality snaps, but I don't want to use them for these little wristlets. I'm trying to keep the costs down and keep them simple, and I think these are good enough for the size of these clutches, because you're only going to be putting like your phone and maybe some money or cards or wallet or whatever in there. It shouldn't be heavy. So it's not like you need a whole purse strap snap. All right, glue. That's what I was getting to next. All right. I always want to put something down so that I don't have glue all over my workspace. This is the only one I'm doing. And I have, this is going to look funny, but this was the very end of my barge container. So I poured it into a jar, and it doesn't last very long, but if I use it within a few days, I think should be fine. I mean, this is the end of the stuff, so it already is pretty thick. And I don't have like cement thinner right now. It is pretty thick. So this is just a disposable kid paintbrush. I'll just pretty much use them once and throw away. Got a whole pack of them. All right, so technically with cement, you're supposed to put it on both pieces, both surfaces, wait till it's not like wet. I mean, it's not gonna be dry, it's gonna be sticky. And then put your pieces together. And you will find that like when it's the right consistency and time period, like you can just stick the thing together and it ain't coming apart. But I don't have the patience. Actually, I do have the patience, but I'll just forget about it and won't get back to it or whatnot. But for me, it's best to just keep working on a project until it's done, or you have to pause, because otherwise, as these clutches did in the past, they get set aside and forgotten about, and it will be 6 months later before I start working on them again. So I am going to, because this stuff is very thick and it is very stinky, I think I might not do the other side, which is blasphemy. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it is. It just may not work as well. And actually, well, it's fine. Me talking to myself, but I'm actually talking to people who are going to watch this video. Okay, and I am going to line up this side because it's got a nice edge. Doesn't have to be perfect. I can trim it away, plus it'll probably be hidden in the fold around the hardware. So these are not exact. Like my turquoise is slightly thicker than my brown leather. And again, this is just a little wristlet. Like I can't be doing all the finishing touches on just this piece because I'm not trying to sell this wristlet strap for high end. I'm trying to just add it to the clutch. And the clutches themselves are a quicker, I'm trying to just throw stuff together. It sounds terrible because that is not, it's actually really hard for me to do because I want to go back and make everything perfect and finish everything the way that is more professional and higher quality. But that means I'm going to be putting more time in, and then I have to charge more money. And normally that's fine on like a bigger project that I want to be like a showcased art piece. These I was just trying to spit out. Like these were supposed to be a quick sell at a market, and I didn't even make it to the market with well, I made it to the market. I just didn't, these didn't make it. So you can see it's not totally sticking together the best. That's where if I had done both sides, waited the appropriate amount of time, that stuff sticks. It's amazing. But we are just getting it stuck together, and I'm gonna run some stitches down it. I'm gonna need a little more right there though. So in the end, the glue is just keeping it in place for stitching. And that is helpful because the leather does stretch and shift during stitching. And so normally if I'm gonna stitch a piece like this that is flush edges, I will actually not do the finishing cut on whichever one is gonna be on the bottom because often the thread will jump over the edge. And I just won't even catch the bottom. Like it's pretty common. So I'll just cut the bottom one bigger and then trim it after stitching. Because when you run that rotary blade along the edge of the top piece, it really goes nice and flush and gets that bottom one exact. And then you can do your edge finishing if you desire, whether that's paint or beveling and slicking or burnishing. I am a fan of burnishing, but this type of leather is not really meant for that. And so veg tan, the stuff that you tool on, is more compliant in the burnishing, whereas these are likely chrome tan. And actually this might not be, but they are gonna be happier. Like if they have fuzzier edges, it's really soft leather, it's not gonna wanna burnish. It's gonna be happier for you to just cut it, maybe sand it. Sometimes sanding makes it fluffier, and that's not desirable either. And then just paint the edge with an edge paint. Okay, that's our one piece. We're gonna set that aside to dry, to dry. If I needed to, I would put little binder clips or other clips to hold the pieces together. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, so now, while that's hanging out, let's see what we got. Like if we can just do one of these. Let's just start with the really thick one because then we're gonna get a good idea of how we need to taper it down for our hardware. So let's find that widest piece, which was 3/4. Oh man, because that's gonna be just right if we do those. Remember that 3/4 piece? Yeah, I just switched without telling you right now, didn't I? Ha! All right. Oh yeah, but I need to put the loop. Okay. That's what I was thinking. The loop there. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely doable. Now, do I like this just cut across? I mean, I could make a pretty point here, or just round it. I think I'll just round it. And I do have punches, but they are on a different bench, and I just happen to have a scissors, and so we're just gonna, again, do this quick. It ain't gonna be perfect. I didn't even get that symmetric. That was terrible. All right. Jeez, what was I doing there? My word. Okay. So much for pretty. All right. It's not pretty. Oh, I just made it worse. This is not the scissors for this job either. And I'd use the rotary cutter, but going around a curve with this, like the blade starts tipping, and then you get a weird angle on your cut too. As if this isn't weird enough. I probably should have drew something first. All right, we're going with it. It's not great. Like, I just keep cutting it shorter and shorter, and it's getting worse and worse. I was just trying to get those tiny little points off. It's not good, y'all. I don't say y'all. I don't know why I just said that. Because I don't know what to call the people watching. It's not good, people. All right. So now we have our loop, our strap. We need to stick a rivet in that. And that's kind of a thick, we could even glue this, kind of a thick 4 layers. Okay, got to keep the hardware in the center here so I don't have to slide it on with the glue and then get it all sticky, but just paying attention to what will be touching it while it's setting. Okay, just a little bit here. Try to get to the edges on this one because that's the part that is going to come loose and flip up and snag on things and then tear your rivet off. But it shouldn't happen if I'm careful with how I construct this. If I don't skip things. So, getting her glued nicely. Right. And then this part, and I could, yeah, let's see me with the scissors again. Great idea. If I get this straight, I feel like that's gonna be easier to tuck in. I was gonna pull it off camera there just to get it away from the thing I had glued, but realized that the whole point of this is to get it on camera. Okay, so we wanna do in between. This is a lot of gluing pieces, but it'll make it easier to put together. And it is not necessary. And I don't think that, like, in a production setting, it would be appropriate because it's just a lot of extra. Okay. And again, I'm not gonna wait. I don't wanna wait. So, I did both sides. We're gonna stick this together. Put some pressure on it. Hope not to get too much glue on my fingers because then I'm gonna get it on other stuff. Okay. But, all right, that's lovely. Now, I gotta put a little glue on the outsides. And here I don't really want to go up to where I think it's, like, I don't want to guess. I guess I could do like a little bit of a point, but I don't want glue outside of the edges when I put it on, because you can see that stuff. So I don't want to overdo my like boundaries here. Okay. Alrighty. Side. I want this to be centered pretty well without sticking those together. And I don't necessarily want to stick it all the way up to the hardware. Okay, so there'll be a little space there. That's pretty good. But trying to get it even on both sides. And I suppose my logic or my thinking on that is as if I was stitching it, but I'm not. I still want it to be as symmetrical as I can get it for this project. Something else I might intentionally or unintentionally be okay with it being different. That's okay. Okay, awesome. So that one is set up. Again, I want to set it aside. And I'll come back to that and set a rivet in a bit. That's not bad. I like that. Okay, setting aside. Great. So now, got this long one. I could use a 3/4 hardware. I could use a 1/2 inch hardware, because no matter what, I gotta taper the end. I think I kind of like the 1/2 inch on the inch, so we will taper that in. Okay, and then once we got this around, yeah, the other part can go in, and then we rivet it. So let's just go ahead and do an inch taper both sides. And then, is this really how long I want it? Like if I was to fold up. Yeah, that's fine. It feels longer than the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's gonna be a 7 inch. So that means I've got room to spare. But let's go ahead and taper down an inch at each end. Okay. So, should I just try this with the scissors again? Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Oh yeah. Nope, I'm gonna mark at least where my, where the heck is a pen? Seriously, I've always got, I've always got pens and pencils all over the place that I have to put away at the end of the day, but guess we haven't started yet. Okay, so there's 1 inch in. Just mark the edges because I know I can do that. I'm just gonna go to here on this one. I can use the extra tab if I want to. That could be my outer one. And then I could do an English point, which comes to, it's tapered to a point instead of a rounded half circle. So now let's just, we're gonna do this the accurate way. Doesn't always work, but we'll try it. Okay, so we're gonna get, it's really hard to look straight down when my phone is right here. All right, so 1/2 inch in the center. I should zoom in, but then I'm afraid I won't be able to zoom out to the right spot while on camera. Okay, so the line is at the 1/2 inch mark. So when I cut it, I should cut right inside the line. Now, this way that I do, like if I was to put a 1/4 inch inside my ruler and then draw a line, I just can't be sure that is absolutely accurate. But when I draw my little tab first and then line it up parallel, I'm gonna do better, because you have to think about how thick you're drawing your line. I know that sounds silly, but with all the pattern drafting I've done, it's crazy how much of a difference a tiny little line makes in the accuracy of your measurements. So I don't know, I may not be explaining that very well, but someday it'll matter. Someday. Okay, so this is not just going to be an immediate cut from the inside. We're going to taper it up nicely. And how long does it take to taper? Well, maybe 1/2 inch. This, we'll just kind of go like that. Try to get about the same spot. Okay. All right, if I wanted my hardware to fall exactly here, I would actually need to extend this straight out just a little longer, but I'm not too concerned about it. Okay. So now we shall use the scissors. Like I say, just to the inside of the line. I don't want my pen mark to show. I suppose I could have drawn this on the back, but that's okay. If I also wanted to, I could even mirror it here. I think that's a good idea. This, didn't I say I was gonna just fold? Maybe I will just fold both of them around for, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing now. I was gonna just stick it in, wasn't I? And then fold the other one around. But it's too late because I've already drawn that and it's got lines right here. So it's gotta be cut. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It's okay. I was gonna stick it to the fold, right? But you gotta leave room for hardware. And then it's gonna taper up. So, I don't know. I'm confused about why I'm doing what I'm doing now. That's okay. It's okay. Let's just do it. We're gonna see what happens. We're just gonna taper each end, which makes me think it's just gonna fold up. I'm a little concerned about this being a little narrow for holding a rivet, but it's okay because we've got other layers. This is more like it's just stabilizing the other layers. Okay, so that would be fine. It's thin, sure. Maybe we want both pieces to go through the hardware. And that means this side will be on the outside and we'll have a tapered point. Sure, it makes sense. Why not? All right, I wanted those to line up there. Yeah. Okay. Tapered point. Let's even bring it back further, because, and we're just eyeballing it, and I can Make my point at the center, kind of round it to the tip. So now that I've putting this on the back, it doesn't matter if I cut exact. Like if the pen mark is still visible, it will not be visible on my final piece. Okay, that's my point. This video is going to be longer than I thought. It shouldn't take 25 minutes to do a little wristlet strap, but such is my life. Like, this is unfortunately how I work. This is crazy. I mean, I guess I'm doing several at once, but let's say it took me an hour to do 5. That's 60 minutes divided by 5 is 12 minutes each. Okay. Let's say it took 10 minutes, like if I'm actually streamlining it, and then I charge $10 each. That wouldn't be terrible. Oh, I mean, we gotta account for materials, but still, it's not terrible. Okay, let's look at the 1/2 inch. I feel like I'm gonna use that smaller snap. Look at that. Because I cut inside the lines, I should have, it would have included the lines to fit. So that's okay. We have the 3/8 inch strap. That is gonna be fine. Okay, we'll put it through there. Put this one through here. See what it looks like. Okay, let's get those pieces. I want the shoulder, or whatever you want to call that, the taper, to line up. And yes, I could trim it afterwards as well to make sure that those are perfectly shaped together. Okay, that's not bad. Kinda cute. All right, let's do that. To glue or not to glue? I feel like I want to. Shouldn't have to. Maybe I don't have to. Oh gosh, so scared. I don't wanna mess it up. I don't wanna wing it. All right. So we gotta punch a hole, and we're gonna hope that that hole goes straight through exactly how we want it. I kind of like this, like, fold over with the taper. It looks cool. Okay. I have one hole punch. Might be a little big for the rivets. One hole punch where it's like a hand punch or a mallet punch. This is the spring or lever or whatever you want to call it. They don't work as great, but they're handy, and they have adjustable sizes. Okay, so since I know this is a turquoisey colored bag, I could use a turquoisey colored, how do I get closer to the camera here? Turquoisey colored rivet. Then it makes me want to, like, go around and do a bunch of them, but I don't have to. Or just a regular rivet, but it's there. Might as well use it. Okay. And this little set did come with a hole punch, but it doesn't work very well. Also, my table is hollow, so it doesn't work very well to be here. I usually am on the edge of it. But maybe I can get through a layer or two. Let's find out. Okay, I'm really pushing this hole punch down to make sure nothing changes. Whew, sorry, I know it's loud. And yeah, I use my mallet. I used to use the big rubber mallet, and I realized that that was not better for setting things because it was just really hard on my arm. Got tendonitis. I don't do any tooling. I did not check to make sure that that middle one was lined up. It's a little off, but thank goodness it's not on the edge. It's fine. It's not really like a structural piece, so it'll be fine. All right, so we've got, all right, do we want this to be on this side or the other side? I like this side with the point. Whew, is it going to be long enough? I guess we'll find out. And if not, then I guess we're trimming that inside layer because we don't need it. All right, so pushing those together should fit to the point where it like stays without me pulling on anything. Now I need a setter tool and an anvil. And hopefully this will not require me moving it to a better part of the table either. Ah, it's not in here. Well, it's in a different one. My throat is getting scratchy. After this, I think I'm gonna have to be done with the video. At least for now. Can always come back. All right, so I got my, okay, because I've got like a stone, I gotta put a piece of something to cushion this from the bottom because that I don't wanna just stick right in. In fact, it means I don't need the anvil because that's not gonna be the right shape. But I usually use like a piece of wood and the wood might already have a dip. Or a very thick piece of leather, so that it's slightly like you can indent on it, so that'll like stay in place. Okay, let's see if this works. I don't know, it's not really holding in place there. I know I have a piece somewhere that is for this purpose. Okay. So I have pressed it, and I always check because sometimes they don't hold and they pop back off, and that is bad. This looks like, I mean, I'm not like trying to tear it apart because I don't want to tear my leather, but I do see, oh, there's a little play. So I pushed on it and felt it come back together, so I know it's not completely smashed. All right, that's better. I don't, yep, that's better. I didn't feel anything move. Okay, we have one little wristlet complete. And that is gonna go on this bag to match with a cute little stone. Put it on the side that the zipper closes. And then I probably want a little pull on the zipper as well. And something else you can do, so if I did a pull that had a loop, you could actually, let's see, you could actually snap, now I wouldn't do it to the zipper, that's kind of a lot, but you could snap to the loop to make sure your zipper stays closed. So, maybe I should just do that right now, show that. I could use lace. I could cut a piece that's going to be too thin to hold. Here's like a scrap that's pretty sturdy. Okay. These zipper holes are really small. Not something I can just tie anything in. This end is a little chunky. Let's get a thin end, pull it through as far as we can. Raw side will be enclosed. I'm going to pull it even further than where it fits perfectly. That way I've got a good thick piece. Okay. And however I want to close that, I could knot it. I could do a knot down at the bottom. Let's just knot it. See what happens, huh? Doesn't have to be long. It's just something to grab. But I don't know, the knot might be too thick where it like comes undone, but we're just gonna go with it for now. It's not a big deal. Keep it simple. It's really hard for me to do, so lots of work here. Okay, and then I'm gonna trim this to match. So now you've got your zip, your clip, and if you were doing something and you wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna unzip, you just clip it on there, ready to roll. Looks great. That's done. Woohoo!